This video, I'm going to show the two different ways that I join my granny squares together. And I'm also going to show a couple of different types of joining at the same time. There's the way where you can come up these two and then join these two. That way you've got one thread and you've done 1, 2 this way. That way you can do more with one thread. Otherwise you do these and then join these two and then join these two and then do your next set of 4, then you go across. But sometimes it's easier just to do this way. So you got your first stair step, then you come across here, put this in here, come across here and up this way, and then join that one. So you're actually working it in a zigzag and you're joining as you go. Then when you go to the next one, you set one here, set one there, set one there, and set one up there. So then you go here, 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 and here. That's another way to do it. Now once you get the width you want, the next time you add one, you add it here instead, and one here, and one up near the top. So then you're going like this. So that's a nice way to do it, but you also have to keep track of which pieces you're putting where. Let me get this stuff out of the way now, because I just want to show a couple of the quickies. Okay, we're going to put these two together first. Now, like I said, let me go ahead and weave in my tail. I don't like these tails sticking out. They always seem to get in my way. I always try to do all my tails before I actually sew anything together, because otherwise you'd have to, after you get everything finished, go back and weave in all your tails. And I just don't like doing it at the end. I'd rather do it as I go. As you've seen, as I worked on each of these, I did my tails in. Now this one I haven't done the tails in yet. But do I have another one? I thought I had another one. Here's one. It has never been blocked, but that's okay. It'll work itself together. Now when you're joining different ones together that may have different amount of stitches, you would have to count your stitches and see where you'd have to double up a couple. Like this one, I'd have to double up in a couple of them, because it looks like there's about 2, maybe 3. Oh, let me enlarge this. Looks like there might be about 2 or 3 stitches more on this one, so I would kind of double up a couple to squish them this way. So first I'm going to use, where's my needle? There it is. The contrasting yarn to show you what happens when you do the contrasting yarn. For this, I'll just put these two together because I know these match. You lay your work back to back. Let me enlarge this a little bit. Hopefully you can see it okay. You would find your corner space, put your needle in your corner. You find your other corner, you go from the back loop to the back loop. Like that. Leave a tail for weaving in later. Now you go to the next one, which is here and here. Now when you whip them together, don't whip stitch them together super tight, because it'll make everything kind of pucker, and we don't want it to pucker. I'm trying to get the tail out of the way. There you go. Then you find your next two. This back one and this back one. Then you do your next two and just whip stitch this all the way. Now if you give yourself an extra long tail, if you don't want to do the zigzag method, go here to here to here, leave yourself an extra long tail. So when you start sewing these two together, you can continue with this tail to sew those two together. Let's go ahead and get this all the way to the top. And I know these match, so that's why I'm going ahead and doing these two. You want to make sure you have the same amount of outer border stitches. So if one has 23, you want to make sure all the others have 23. If that means you have to add one more set of single crochet someplace, or take one double crochet out, it'll make your overall look of your work better than keep trying to gather them in and pucker them. But you'll find what works best for you. Now my yarn has a tendency to kind of twist up on me like this when I'm working, and I don't want it to do that, because then I wind up with a kind of a knot. So I always take the time to unspin it go to my next one here, find my corner. I think I have one more. There. Okay, so now when I'm done, it lays nice and flat. And then on the back side, it's just a little one here too. Now, if I had done this in the white, you would have never seen it. I did it in contrasting color on purpose. Now at this point, you can pull this out, or you can line this one up and whip stitch these together, doing the same thing. I would go back and make sure my corner, here's my corner here, and I go into this corner here, then make sure each of the loops match, and continue on. That's if you want to do it this way. Now, I don't know, this one is going to be off by 2, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to squish this one over, catch this one, and go back into this one. Then go to the next one. Now, if you do this all with the same colored thread, you wouldn't see that, but since I'm using different colored threads, you can see it. But I'm doing it on purpose. I want you to see what I'm doing. Ways to kind of adjust them. See, I'm just about even. And you can count to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So you got 9 there. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and an odd one. So go up a couple more. And then you want to do a double join again to where you grab this one and go back to this one. So that way the rest of them will line up. And you can see how it will work itself together that way. And then after you've done that, you put one here, sew it, put one here, sew it, and sew it. And that way you would have a continuous, and you don't have to keep stopping and starting your thread as often. You can use one piece of thread for 2, 3, or 4 squares, which is great. Okay, now I'm going to show you the other one. This one is called faggoting. These look like they're about the same size. Okay, I'll grab the same color thread, it doesn't matter. This one is a crocheted connection. So you find your corner, start your thread just like always. Now this one you can't weave your tail in because the way we're doing it, it's not going to weave. So you do 2 chains, one. Well, in this case, we'll just do one because that one was the beginning one. Now you want to go into the back of this one, bring your yarn to the front because you want to do all your stitching on the front. Insert your hook, bring it through, then chain 2, 1, 2. Now you come over here, skip one, and go through both loops here. Single, 1, 2. Then you come here, you skip one and go through both of these. Single, 1, 2. Come over to this one, skip one, go into this one, single, 1, 2. Then come back over here, skip one, go to the next one, 1, 2. Skip one, go to the next one. It's repetitious all the way across. 1, 2. Now you also want to make sure you have the same amount of stitches. If not, you may have to do a little flubbing. Oh, bring this on this side. There. There we go. Where you have to kind of ease 2 together. That's why you always want to try to make sure you have the same amount of stitches on all your pieces. And it's better to have it done right in the beginning before you start putting it together than trying to figure out how to fix it after the fact. Now you can do more than 2 in between, but I never do more than 2 because I don't want them to spread out too far, because fingers and toes and sticks and all kinds of stuff can get caught in between, which could cause one of the yarns to tear, and then the thing will start unraveling, and you definitely don't want it to unravel. And you can finish this one off the same way. you go on up to the next corner piece. See, I'm just about there. I'll go ahead and finish it. So it kind of gives you an idea of what I'm doing. And always make sure your crochet yarn is on your right if you're right-handed, and on your left if you're left-handed, because if you put it on the left and you try to go this way, it doesn't like to work. Let me enlarge this a little bit, maybe give you a little more. Okay, make sure the yarn is on the right. Go through the next two, and as you see, it catches so much easier, and it lays a lot flatter. 1, 2, go up to this one. Want to make sure you catch them both, because that gives you a stronger stitch. Catching one has a tendency to kind of stretch out a bit. This one, as you see, one is a little bit longer, so I'm going to have to do a little fudging. So instead of going over 2, I'll go over 1 more. 1, 2. Now you're going to see it on the other end, but when you look at the grand scheme of your whole afghan, you're not going to see 1. Unless you point it out to somebody. Hey, look, I did 1 off. 1, 2. I think that's all I'm going to have to do is just that 1, 2. Oh, it's a corner here. So I should have done 2 of them. I should have counted first. Like I said, always count before. Then if you have a boo-boo, you've got, let's see, when I catch it inside the yarn, you don't want to catch it inside the chain, or you could do inside the chain, whichever works best. 1, 2. Now, when you look at your work, you've got this nice zigzag edge, and even though you're using a contrasting yarn, it works well as long as it's one of the other colors someplace throughout your work. Now, you could do it all in white if you wanted. Now, when you get to your next corner, excuse me, you want to grab your corner space. You can do the same thing, zigzag up, or you can do each one individually. There's 2. I got to go back in the same corner, right here. One, 2. Go right back to this one. 1, 2. Everything is in 2s. 1, 2. 1, 2. You can do 3 if you want, and do 3 chains. I'll do 3 chains so you can see how it works with 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Same here. 1, 2, 3. Catch it. 1, 2, 3. Same here. 1, 2, 3. Now, if one is longer than the other, you can do 2 instead of 3 every now and then to kind of ease it together. 1, 2, 3. See, it looks like this white one's longer than that, so I'm just going to do 2 here. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. All right, I'll go ahead and stop at this point so you can see what I've done. So see, when you do 2, it's a little bit tighter weave. When you do 3, it's a little opener weave. But either way will work. And then, of course, when you finish off weaving your tail. To weave in this tail, I'd weave it up through the actual stitches on the back side. Because you can't weave it through the back of here, you would definitely see a contrasting color there. So it's better to weave it up through this part. And if you enjoy the video, click that you like it, subscribe, and hit the notification button. That way, when my next video comes out, you'll see that one too. Have a good day.